I was so scared of saying I'm a woman and then instantly hearing, no, you're not. Mm-hmm. Because in my head, I fought with that every day.
So hi guys, I decided to talk today about Kris Tyson. I hope that everybody actually will enjoy. I will try to be fair. The most important part will be at the end of the video, my opinion. If you have seen the interview, you can just jump to that part. Do not forget to like and subscribe and tell me what you think in the comment section once you're done looking at the video, and let's go. Kris with a K now. Alright, for people who not remember, I did a video when Sunny2V did this video, and I also reacted to this. This was one of the first video that I did on this channel. You can actually go and look at it, so you can actually feel a bit of where I'm going with this. So obviously, since that debacle where people were like, well, Kris is just going to kill MrBeast's channel and this and that, and why do people want to have like a T person when you have so many kids that are watching this video? It's never going to be the same anymore because it was boys being boys between boys, and now this person wants to be like a woman. There were so many things flying left, right and center about Kris Tyson, then back then with the CH becoming Kris Tyson with a K. So since then he has been quite silenced. From time to time he tweets something. A couple of days ago, he did this video with this gentleman here that is named Anthony Padilla. So this is the first interview that he does publicly and tried to explain different things about where he's going and his feelings and blah blah blah. I talked about a couple of things. He did not talk about a couple of things that I think are important to talk about, but I will actually talk about that at the end, things that he didn't talk about and my feeling overall about all this. So let's just watch a little bit of the interview.
Detached from that identity?
Yeah, so for me,
videos have blown up to the point where now they are consistently getting over 100 million views each.
it's crazy.
And which is just, I can't even fathom how many people that looks like.
I can't either.
And you are in almost every video.
Yeah.
You kind of became Kris, the guy from MrBeast.
Exactly. It was actually, for the longest time, my Twitter bio was the guy in MrBeast videos. And then about a year and a half ago, it turned into sometimes I'm in MrBeast videos.
Oh, so the guy part was removed?
It was, yeah, that was removed a long time ago.
Like, was that anticipating?
Yeah, that was...
Wanting to detach from that identity?
Yeah, so for me, in my head, I was like, oh, people are getting scared of, like, I'm from a small town.
First of all, I would like to say that if I ever make pronouns mistake, obviously it's because Kris to us was a dude for a long time. I think that it naturally is difficult to just start changing somebody's pronouns just in the middle of life. So for people who are going to come and be like, oh, this and that, you know what? I am going to try to not misgender them. So it starts with the introduction of Kris, how everybody know Kris from MrBeast. Obviously he's friends with MrBeast. They've known each other since they were kids or something, and yes, that's the first part of it. After that, it goes to the gender that Kris has today.
People.
You've had a lot of people speculating on your gender.
Yes.
You know, just you growing out your hair.
Yeah.
I mean, today you showed up fully presenting as a woman.
I did, because I am a woman.
Oh shit!
Ah, she, her.
You've never said that before, right?
I've never said that publicly, no. But I've been fully...
I have a little problem with this, frankly. I have it's not my problem, but I think that Kris is such a public person, you know. I understand today a lot of things about trans people. I have not really been doing videos about trans people because I think as a traditional person, woman, I obviously have my opinion about all of this. But at some point when I was doing some of my videos in the beginning, I realized that I would like to understand. I'm somebody who really listens to people. why are you doing this? How did this come to be about, etc, etc. And I know that a lot of people from the LGBT community, they are just like we are, the same way you're straight, we just are. It brings up a lot of questions, but to me, what actually bothers me a little bit about Kris saying I'm a woman is a lot of people from that community give us prefix. Some of them call us cis woman or base woman or whatever, biological woman. I think all of that is crazy because we are just women. We went from this community being trans women, people who actually look like women. This is actually how I call them mostly. To I'm a woman. It makes me wonder, what are we? Because a lot of the people, and I'm not saying that Kris is actually doing that, but we see a lot of, sorry to say this, but trans people that are so, the one that went on Dr. Phil, to each their own. What the hell is that? So everybody has a definition of every word now. And we're not even allowed to complain, because when you complain, people will be like, oh, you're so transphobic or something, which we're not. I'm just wondering, why are we being pushed out for just being who we are naturally? So anyway, Kris is actually dressed with a dress and high heel shoes, like sort of wedges, well, not wedges, but you know, like thick high heels. And I suppose that if you don't really do heels, that's pretty much the best way to go. All right, jumping ahead, they're not talking about the public reaction to all of this. So
tabloid culture now.
Yeah.
It's like every single thing has some kind of headline about you and what it means and the effects on Mr. Beast and all these different things.
It was crazy. I was trying to take a break. I was like, okay, it's not affecting me too bad, but I don't need to consume all this media and attention of myself. I'll delete all my social media. And then I get on Google and I go to open a new tab, and Google will recommend me articles about myself.
Well, you love Mr. Beast and Kris Tyson.
Yeah.
And here's this thing
I'm like,
about people hating you.
Please stop. I don't want to know about it.
Yeah. So you're just constantly being fed.
all right, that also is something that sometimes surprised me. I mean, if you're a public person, clearly, I can see both sides of it. Clearly, people are going to talk about you, especially when you're like on the biggest platform of YouTube. The channel Mr. Beast is bigger than YouTube, actually. That's what Mr. Beast is today. I mean, I love Mr. Beast and I love Kris. By the way, for people who actually think that I'm coming here to diss Kris, that's not what it is. Actually, again, I'm going to give my opinion at the end of the video. So if you want, you can just jump to that. And I just think that if you're a public figure and you do something so out there, people are going to give their opinion about it. But as the person receiving or being talked about, it's obvious that it's not easy, especially if a lot of it is bad. You just rather, switch everything off and, do you.
Articles with headlines that are just blatantly, I feel like we should.
And the third part was coming out. So coming out to Mr. Beast, I believe.
Take a moment on that. Like, how does that feel, publicly saying in front of cameras that you are a woman?
For the longest time, to even say it to some of the closest friends, it would make me like my hands shake to say it. I would get so nervous. But now I can say I'm a woman. I'm happy to say I'm a woman. It's something that's honestly so freeing. And I think that is part of what the HRT did for me, was being able to accept myself and being able to look in the mirror and say, yes, you are a woman.
Every single person has something about themselves that they kind of want to be more of.
Yeah.
And
feel
then
a
there's
little insecure about.
Yeah, even if it is just lacking confidence.
Yeah.
Even if it's just I want to be a little bit more confident in myself.
So on the video, I actually talk about coming out, how it came out, how Mr. Beast actually found out that he was cross-dressing at the time, I suppose, and then how when he was a kid he rather actually played with his sister stuff. He talks about hormone therapy. So in the video it talks about after that hormone therapy replacement and accepting himself the way he is, talking about how Mr. Beast actually figured out and how he was very classy about it because they used to live together, and at some point Mr. Beast actually entered his room without knocking and find him dressing completely as a woman. and went back out and be like, we don't have to talk about it, and he didn't talk about it for a long time. And why is it big news? So again, if you're a public figure, goes to say that people are going to talk about you.
Really, like, made a lot of people focus on it was that I'm just living my life. I'm not saying anything or doing anything. I'm just, hey, I'm on HRT. I'm a lot happier now. And I think that, in my opinion, a lot of people were like, no, we can't have somebody this successful and this like happy being on HRT. It's bad optics. So, I mean, if that's the reason.
Actually, I don't think that's what it is. For my personal tastes or opinion about this, I think that unfortunately, when somebody as famous as out there like Kris actually put something like that, and having millions and millions and millions of teenagers, kids, young adults, even old people seeing this, it can actually influence them. That's one of the things that I really don't like about. I think that if you really know that you are a trans person, fine. You're old enough, you are mature enough, you have thought about it. Unfortunately, at some point he said that he went to therapy, and the third time he realized it was a woman. I don't think that it takes 3 times to realize, 3 times at the therapist to actually know that you're a woman. I think you have to go long. But he said that privately he knew for a long time, so maybe that's what it is also. Unfortunately, I think like when you have that much impact, maybe you're sure about what you want and what you are in life, but unfortunately it's going to actually not revive, but sort of revive a flame on that little kid who is looking for themselves. And yet they're not there. They're not there yet. They're not grown enough yet. They have not seen both sides really of the aisle, because let's say a 10-year-old actually decides to change themselves. They have not grown to be a teenage boy yet to even say, oh, I want to change myself. They don't have the maturity to normally say that to themselves. So I think that when you're public and you deal a lot with kids, teenagers that watch your videos, it's difficult to see. Again, I understand that it cannot just stop. Kris cannot stop living life because of other people, but I think that this is the effect of Kris.
Maybe it was just general transphobia. Maybe they just don't like me. Maybe they're not Kris fans. They might.
Nah, we are. Anyway, I will come back on that again into my opinion. So apparently when he told his friends, the friends just like said okay, started crying, and friends are friends. And again, I'm not even surprised about the fact that they took it as they took it. You know, why are you going to hate anybody in 2023 because they want to be sort of themselves, you know? After that, it talked about changing his name. To me, he already had a name that is Kris, so Kris actually passed for, Kris, Christina, Christian. So he changed the spelling of his name for now. He also said that he has another name that is private, right? No problem. And the last part is him working on changing his voice.
Oh gosh, we might have to do a couple of takes.
That's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Here it goes.
Sure.
Hey Anthony, congratulations on buying Smosh.
Couple of things. Even if you change physically, and to us, obviously, some people, yes, so the hair growing off, the nail polish, the sort of effect of hormone therapy. I don't know if, sorry to say, those are real boobs or if it's just, something that he put in. But it's something else, because now you're seeing this person that you've been seeing for decades at least, for a couple of years, being a he. Because when you look at him, when you look at Kris, wanting or not, you just see Kris. I see the old Kris. I'm sorry to say, yes, this person is wearing makeup. but I still see Kris. That's a good thing and a bad thing. I see Kris because I'm sure that new Kris. Kris wants to be seen as Kris today, but it's just difficult to just people around to erase. One of the things that I was not really happy that he didn't talk about, and I didn't really like it, he didn't talk about the effect that he had on his family overall. His parents, I don't know if he has siblings. He talked about his friends, but he didn't talk about that. And let's not forget that Kris CH was married to a woman and got a kid. And as I said in the first video, is that fair? How is this now working as a family unit? Has the woman hurt? Is the woman... And I'm not saying that he has to share his private life, but I just think, again, if you're just that public of a figure and you are sharing that much, you have to share to the point of people can understand that, oh, I'm thinking about this. This is the pros, this is the cons. You can't just come and say, oh, I'm so happy and everything is lovey-dovey, because not a lot of people has the money that Kris has to go through this, change appearances, have surgery done, go take classes to change the tone of your voice. Not everybody has that kind of money. I'm just gonna say that sometimes also people can be hurt, but if you go through with it, you go through with it. I saw a video that dad on Dr. Phil that was so shocked when his son became a daughter. It is painful for some people to see their kids, their friend, their siblings, their cousins, there's something, even somebody who is your fan, to see this happening, and people are going to be like, well, it's not your life, move on with this. No, I'm a fan of Kris. Okay, we all have our favorites on Mr. Beast. Fine, he's not my favorite. Oh, sorry, Kris is not my favorite, but I think we all have love for every single one of them. They're a crew. Am I happy that he found himself? Absolutely. I think that one of the most important things in life is to be happy as you want to be happy, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. That's what I believe. Changing yourself obviously has repercussions on your kid, ex-wife, family, and on Mr. Beast's channel, friends and everything. It does. Because some parents are just going to be like, well, I don't want you to watch this channel anymore. If they go on tour or something, they might just say, well, I'm not about this. And because unfortunately Kris is there, they might just disallow their kids to go there. So it's not fabulous for Mr. Kid brand, and people are going to say, well, this person is transphobic, but this person just has standards. And I think we're all doing whatever we think is right. We're all doing whatever we think is right. And there's no right or wrong answer to this. There's no right or wrong answer. If Kris is happy, good for Kris. But as I said again, Kris is a public figure. So it is going to have repercussions. I think the good thing is we have so much love for Kris overall, that I think the love that we had for Kris for day one, when he was, well, I don't even know if this actually makes sense, when he was XY completely, or to us physically dressed and look like XY, that I think that love can't just dissipate from a day to another. And I think that this is why I can actually understand that a family member can just lose it, because you love somebody for who they are and all of a sudden they decide to change themselves. It cannot be easy. And if it's not easy for the person, it cannot be easy for the person who is also trying to change. And this is why we talk about it. This is why we need to talk about it. I think there's no wrong or right answer really. But I think understanding the facade of it. Why is the need? Should we actually really fix an age where you can just go and try to? Because that's the problem. Again, he has a kid. But somebody who, like Jazz Jennings, was changed from pretty much day zero who is not going to be able to reproduce with her body or his body or her body. I actually call Josh Jennings her because I go with what you look like, really, and what I've seen you first like. This is actually how pronouns actually comes out of my mouth. So it's not personal for people who are going to say, well, you should try harder. We are trying, because I know a lot of us, and I try more with people that I consider that I like, polite and everything. I wouldn't try with somebody like Jeffrey March, or I don't know what his name is. I wouldn't try that because it's just annoying. But overall, yeah, you should go. I will leave the link to the video that I just commented in the bottom. It's a difficult situation. I think that, again, we're always going to really like Kris, but obviously it's not going to be the same. And that's the difficult part, is if you see somebody happily living their life, even if you don't agree with what they do. And I'm going to leave it like that. I think this is definitely the most important part. A lot of questions. This is why when I do my video now, because my videos should never be considered as hateful videos. This is not my aim in this channel, but to understand as much as I can, because I've always been an open-minded person, even though I have my principles, my likes and my dislikes. I can only imagine, and I'm sorry to say, but I hope not, that my kid is never going to become or have this dilemma of wanting to change gender, because it's not easy. It is not. It is not. Like, even though you're happy that somebody like Kris actually is happy, you're also, sorry to say it, sort of glad that this is not your kid, because this is a lot of questions. It's a lot of restructuring of everything. And I know some people are going to be saying, no, but it's the same person. Yeah, but it isn't, because Kris say that now he's a she. Just to actually explain. But if she's a she now, and she wasn't a she before, then she has changed. And the dynamic has changed. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and tell me what you think. I will see you in the next one. Faceless here. Ciao, ciao.